what was your biggest lesson from your divorce last year? Or what was the biggest gift? And it's the same answer, which is, oh, I was like, well, I'm now the secure parent for my little girl, 100%, like through and through. I have no doubt. I have 100% trust that I can hold myself on all levels. And I was like, well, that's the transformation I want to take women through, because I just did it. and I'll share with you really briefly, what really sparked me to get into like doing this and how I'm doing it now is the divorce that I went through last year. I was married to a very avoidant man. And if anybody has been in relationship with an avoidant person, avoidant is an attachment style. We have anxious, avoidant, and secure. If you're with an avoidant partner, it can only make you anxious. It can only like create this, because we can feel they have one foot in, one foot out. It can only create this anxiety within you. And so really what happened was that, like, through a series of experiences that I went through last summer of going through our separation, it really spiraled me into healing this core wound of abandonment. And I have to just say, like, in that core wound of abandonment, it feels like everyone's abandoning you. It feels like no one's there for you, and it really felt in my system. And I remember watching like some trauma experts talk about healing abandonment. It really felt like starvation and death. If we're abandoned as children, we would die, right? We wouldn't be nourished. We wouldn't have food. We wouldn't have someone to take care of us. So whenever that wound is triggered as an adult, biologically, like physiologically, feels like starvation and death. And it was so intense, like the most intense thing I've ever been through, period, in my life. And I realized in those moments there were so few people that could really meet me in that level of pain that I was in, and the level of emotional intensity that I was in, that they couldn't like meet me or be even present with me, like in that pain. Because, let's face it, like people can only meet you to the level at which they've met themselves. And it was few and far between, and it really just became my experience that, like, wow, like even the people saying like, I'm there for you, I've got you, I'm going to be there for you every step of the way, it was like radio silence when it really came down to it. And so I luckily had a couple, like a guy friend and a girlfriend that like showed up for me, and that was so helpful and beautiful. And what happened in those moments for me, where I realized I was like, wow, life is giving me this experience to be able to hold myself at all levels, at the deepest level, to be the divine masculine within myself, to be the divine feminine within myself, to be the nurturer and the mother, and to be the protector of myself. And all of those aspects had to come online for me to be able to set boundaries with who I needed, my ex-husband, who I needed to set boundaries with, to stand up for myself, and to say like when enough was enough. That like, oh wait, like I actually don't have to keep re-traumatizing myself with this person, became so clear because what I did was just dove so headfirst with so much consistency in this reparenting work. Because and some of like you'll do breath work and meditation and yoga and getting into nature. And I was doing all the things, trust me. I mean, I pulled every tool I had in my toolbox to try to get me through this experience. And when it really came down to it, what could soothe me and what could self-regulate my nervous system was reparenting my inner child in real time, when she was freaking the fuck out, when she was writhing with like so much rage and anger, whenever she had like 10 out of 10 heart anxiety. It was like, yes, the embodiment practices to move the energy, but it was also stopping and like saying the words that she needed to hear with so much authenticity and so much compassion. And I just learned, because I've done inner child work throughout the years, maybe kind of half-assed it. And what became so clear is like, that little girl isn't going to trust you unless you're being real, unless you're being authentic, unless you're really meeting her where she's at. Okay. And so if she's at, I don't trust you at all, actually, because you've abandoned me or ignored me for decades now, or years. That's where you have to meet her. Okay.